The world has changed. It's now a multipolar, a multinodal world. And the days of America being the big bad bully, the shining city on the hill, the exceptional nation, all that wonderful stuff that Reagan and everyone else was talking about, we'd all love to believe in that. I used to believe in that, but I'm kind of cynical at this point. I'm wondering what the hell has happened to our country. There used to be a movie, I think, maybe a book. Dude, what happened to my country? Well, I'm not a fan of Michael Moore. In my opinion, he's a libtard, leftoid kind of dumbass, but you could say that, definitely, about what happened to my country. I'm asking you. Maybe you can enlighten me. It's a sincere question. And I'm asking myself that every friggin' day. Now, full disclosure, for many years, I used to be a registered Democrat. I voted for Ronald Reagan twice, and then I voted against Bush, and then I voted for Clinton and so forth. And I was so sick of most of these people, I just kept voting for, even Obama. I voted for Obama twice. And then I was like, okay, this can't really be it. It's not change we can believe in. Well, it was change, all right, but it wasn't anything I believe in. And then along came Trump, and I was super skeptical, super cynical, and I said, I'm not really, what's that guy? You're fired, the apprentice, whatever. Some real estate dude from New York. I was like very skeptical, but I did vote for him reluctantly because I couldn't vote for the other guys. And then I voted, for him again in 2020, and I voted for him again in 2024. That said, the first time was kind of like, let's just check it out. The second time was, gung-ho, Trump. And the third time was like, holding my nose when you're drinking like cod liver oil or some shit that tastes like gross. That's sort of like my journey with Trump. But I was still pretty optimistic as, after his election, he said a lot of the right things, and Doge came along, and Elon Musk, and I was like, we're getting to the bottom of this stuff, and, we're reining in the FBI and the CIA and all this stuff. We're reining them all back in. We're establishing the rule of law, getting rid of lawfare. I was really optimistic. I was even more optimistic when I saw people like J.D. Vance go to the Munich Security Conference and rip the European fascist elites a new one and told them, look, you guys, you're talking about European values, but you're doing censorship all over the place. We don't like that. I was like, wow, we want to talk to Russia. We want to seek the dialogue. We want to, do this and that. I was a little skeptical, actually a lot, when I saw his cabinet picks. Tulsi Gabbard gave me a little hope. I was like, Kash Patel, okay, he can fix the FBI, so forth, so on. 100 days into the Trump administration, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, that's not it. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't vote for this. I'm talking to a lot of MAGA guys right down here. I live in Deep South in Florida, right? Not in Miami either. I'm living in the west coast of Florida, Tampa Bay. I talk to a lot of MAGA guys. I talk to a lot of, Trumpians and so forth. And it's totally split down the middle. Half of them say, yes, it's working. It's the greatest thing. Golden age, the Messiah. And then there's about an equally large group of people, also hardcore, pro-America, America first, MAGA. But they're saying, dude, I didn't sign up for that. It's like I didn't sign up for Israel first. I signed up for America first, which I'm fully on board of. The Gaza genocide, that's a real issue that I'm absolutely not on board with. And then I look at Trump's picks, and they're all hardcore Zionists, Christian nationalists, whatever you want to call them. That's all stuff I have no patience for, any of that stuff, okay? What I'm saying is I'm much more of a libertarian in the sense of Ron Paul or, Rand Paul even, just liberty, freedom, justice, peace in the American way, all that kind of stuff. That's what I believe in. That's what I signed up for. That's what I'm willing to stand for, and that's what I'm willing to die for. I am not willing to die for Israel, and I'm certainly not willing to die for the the Ukraine, which is a totally fabricated country, and it's run by a cabal of neo-Nazis. And we're feeding that machine, we're feeding that furnace with hundreds of billions of dollars. You might want to say, well, that money could have gone a long way toward Social Security, building roads, infrastructure, fixing America, taking care of our veterans, the people that we pretend to, stand for, support our troops. Oh, okay, thank you for your service. Well, that sounds great as a bumper sticker or a yellow ribbon or some shit. Millions of veterans are living in squalor, have PTSD, traumatic brain injury and so forth. That's a tragedy. Nobody takes care of them. We say thank you for your service when it suits us, but we forget these people and piss on them when it doesn't. And that's just one of many things that I'm not okay with. I'm looking at this as something, taking my country back, taking our country back, taking America back. I'm not seeing anything, not one friggin' thing that Trump's done to me is taking our country back. It's still feeding the military-industrial congressional complex that Eisenhower warned us against. We want to start wars with, let me think, China, Russia, Iran, maybe a few other countries that we can bomb and bomb the shit out of, bombing them back to the Stone Age like the Houthi. The Houthi may be a medieval Islamic country, but I tell you one thing, they are standing for something. They know what they stand up for. They're willing to put their money where their mouth is, and they're willing to die for what they believe in, namely to save their Palestinian brothers from genocide in Gaza. Just saying. When we bomb the shit out of them, and we're not beating them, because we can't. The world has changed. It's now a multipolar, a multinodal world. And the days of America being the big bad bully, the shining city on the hill, the exceptional nation, all that wonderful stuff that Reagan and everyone else was talking about, we'd all love to believe in that. I used to believe in that, but I'm kind of cynical at this point. I'm wondering what the hell has happened to our country. And when we're at the topic of how do we take our country back, there's something that at Magic Mail, we're vision driven. We look at the vision, the mission, the purpose, the passion. We're standing for something, appealing to manliness, male virtues, not male chauvinism, just male virtues. Virtue comes from Latin, vir, V-I-R, which means man. It's masculine values, heroic values. You stand for something. You're the defender of your household, of your wife, of your girlfriend, of your culture, of your country, Western democracy, liberty, freedom, all that wonderful stuff. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's virtues. That's values. That's standing for something. That's what America was built on. We, the people. We don't believe in tyranny. We don't believe in fascism. We don't believe in kings and queens. We believe in liberty and freedom for all, justice for all. Remember in high school, Pledge of Allegiance? The republic that it stands for. That means equality in front of the law. That means everybody, not a two-tier system of justice where some billionaire class, gets a free pass no matter what they do. And the rest of us, unwashed masses, basically are like denigrated to being cannon fodder, consumers, dumbasses. That's not America I grew up in. That's not America I believe in. That's not America I want to live in. Don't know about you, but if you want to take your country back, I don't believe you do it at a voting booth. I think you do it first in your head, in your heart, in your immediate surroundings, in your family, in your friends. You do it in what's known as culture. And at Magic Mail, the thing that we, by extension, are now implementing more and more is what I call PCM. And that stands for politics, culture, and metaphysics. Now, what I mean by that? Well, politics is a lot of stuff. It could be, your daily politics. It could be party politics. It could be geopolitics. It's how we relate to the rest of the world. It is how we relate to each other. The parties in Congress, I think we should have another party, at least one more, and get out of this duopoly, this uniparty, as some people call it rightfully. You need to take your culture back. And your culture, that's everything from, gender mainstreaming to DEI hires to trans, this and, LBQG, whatever the fuck, that thing. That's all wonderful and great as long as it stays very far away from me. I'm totally good with it. We've all heard about the Judeo-Christian culture. And what that means is we're looking at Western civilization, 2,000 years since the days of Christ, and we're looking at all the cathedrals, all the culture, all the music, from Michelangelo to Johann Sebastian Bach, Mozart, Leonardo da Vinci, the Renaissance. We're looking at all these great achievements. We're looking at the massive European cathedrals in England and France, wherever. We're looking at all that stuff. We're looking at 2,000 years of history. We can even go farther back in history. Antiquity, Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire. None of these people were really dumb. They had a lot of interesting stuff to contribute. We see a lot of that culture, all the works of art and music and deep thought and philosophy and religion. That's all culture. And it spills over into metaphysics, which is the M in PCM. So politics, culture, metaphysics. If you want to take your country back, if you want to take your world back, you have to start with the culture. And culture is really everything from what you swim in, it's like a fish swims in water. We earthlings, we walk on the earth. Birds fly in the sky and so forth. It's that medium that you live in. Like an earthworm, a mole, you're in the ground. So that's your medium, that's your culture, that's what you're swimming in. And culture, it's a lot more. It's the fabric that ties everything together with your language, your arts, your sciences, your music, your philosophy. It dominates and influences everything. And that's where you need to start owning your culture, retaking your culture. It starts with proper grammar, proper English, understanding that the English language is a wonderful, beautiful language, as are most languages, but I particularly speak English, and I love English. I speak a couple other languages, but it's mostly English. And I'm really interested in proper grammar, good diction, thinking clearly, logically, rationally, and yet also be not a stranger to your emotions, not be ruled and governed by your emotions, but know how to handle your emotions, enjoy them for what they are. They give you good feelings if you use them properly. So yes, everything is or centering around culture, from your personality to the people around you, to girls, to whether you're in your head or in your body, what's socially acceptable and what isn't. All these things are part of culture. Politics is how they enforce the shit on you. Or, okay, on a better note, rules. And really, we shouldn't be talking about rules, because rules are kind of like made up. But there's such a thing as law. There's divine law, and then there's human law, Code Napoleon, or like common law, whatever it is, depending on your culture. But there's also wars, there's policies, there's taxes, and it's from tiny shit like what we have to go through with air travel, to mask mandates, to the vaccine, to the pandemic, all the way to nuclear war or genocide like what we're watching in Gaza. That's all part of culture. And metaphysics is the real reason why we do all these things. We believe in one nation under God. And again, I'm not much of a religious kind of guy. I don't believe in the Abrahamic religions very much. I do like Eastern Orthodoxy as probably the closest thing to the original idea behind Christianity. And this is what we see in Russia. It's a Christian Orthodox country. Oh no, they want to, the Soviet Union, Putin is a dictator and a thug, and he wants to conquer all of Europe. He doesn't even want half the Nazi Ukraine. He doesn't. He just wants to rule over ethnic Russians. And that's the four oblasts, the Donbass, maybe even Kiev and Odessa, but that's it. That's all Putin wants. So Putin is probably closer to the Tsarist empire. He's a Russian. He's not a Soviet. He's not a communist. He wants nothing to do with any of that. He's also not a conqueror. He's not interested in ruling Europe or even most of the Nazi Ukraine. If you don't understand these three things, politics, culture, metaphysics, then you really have nothing, because that's the stuff that everything that life's made up of. That's the substance. At least your mental, your emotional life is made out of politics, culture, and metaphysics. Anything, even the more modest, even of perennial philosophy, like Taoism or Buddhism, which are not technically religions, they're still part of metaphysics. So is any system of magic. So is any system of philosophy. From Aristotle to Socrates to Plato, that's all metaphysics. That's all the stuff that formed your culture, even unbeknownst to you, even if you're not aware of all the influences on your culture. Yes, religion is a major factor, for better or worse, but so is the arts, philosophy, and a lot of other things. You can, live in your own world. You can ignore culture, you can ignore politics, but you really can't ignore its impact on your life and on your country. In many ways, culture is also like one thing we talk about a lot when it comes to self-confidence, self-esteem, a solid sense of self-identity. There's such a thing as your pathological inner critic. And that's that nagging voice that always tells you you're not good enough, you suck, you're an idiot, look how you'll never amount to anything. Usually shit that your parents told you, some nasty teachers told you, whatever it may be. Some asshole told you that. And that's kind of keeping us down. That's keeping us low. That's keeping us from reaching any kind of modicum of a potential. It's what keeps us from finding a life's purpose, or believing that there even is a life's purpose. And I believe if you don't have any idea what your life's purpose is, you really have not so much. I would say I would go as far as nothing. So in many ways, your culture, politics, and your metaphysics is influencing you. And that's also kind of reflected in that little inner nagging voice, the itty bitty shitty committee, that nagging inner voice that seems very much like an outer voice. It's almost like a little demon telling you you're worth nothing. So all of that is part of culture. It's all part of politics. It's all part of metaphysics. It has everything to do with how you feel about your country, about yourself, about your body, about women, how your success with women or in life or in money or financial matters or in the professional field may work. And if you're constantly being bombarded by negative messages, men are shit, radical feminism, all that stuff, it's not going to help you, but that's part of taking your culture back. Instead of, I'm not always politically correct. I've heard that so many times from people. This may not be PC, meaning politically correct, but I just kind of, have to say this, don't beat me, because I'm just a man, and, I'm a male chauvinist, I'm worthless as a man, I know. If you're subject to any of that, that's where it comes from. And that's where you need to take it back. The powerful elites, in this case, the Rockefellers, in the 50s, invented feminism, radical feminism. And they made it a thing. And you're still suffering. There's cultural Marxism from the Frankfurt School. There's a lot of other influences, all that woke-tardness, all that bullshit. That's all part of culture. That's all part of politics. And it's also part of your psychology and your emotional makeup. It is seeped in like leaky gut syndrome. When shit kind of gets through the walls of your intestines and kind of infects your entire body. Leaky gut syndrome, look it up. That's sort of how this stuff works. It may not be a pleasant visual image, so forgive me for that, but it is how it works. Shit tends to kind of seep into everything if you don't stop it, just like rust or corruption or any other nastiness. Viruses, opportunistic diseases, bacteria, fungi, all that stuff. Insects, bugs can infiltrate your home if you don't defend it. They can infiltrate your mind. And my intuition is it probably already has. Wake up, Neil. You're living in a prison for your mind. A prison that you can't see, you can't smell it, you can't touch it. But it's there, you see it when you look out your window, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. You always see it's there. You sense it, you feel it, and you know it's there. And that's that stuff we all swim in. That's where you need to say, stop. What is my culture? What does my country stand for? What do I stand for? What are my values, my virtues, what I'm willing to stand for, what I'm willing to live for, and ultimately, what am I willing to die for if I have to? The Russians are very clear. They're looking at Mother Russia as their mother, their literal and figurative mother. That's what they live in. They just 80 years ago defeated the very much unprovoked, in this case, assault by the Nazis, and they lost 27 million. So when they defeated the Nazis, that is truly a day to remember. That's truly a day to celebrate. So to demonize an entire people, entire culture, a Slavic race, is the height of racism, and it smacks very much of what it really is, Nazi ideology. So when you look at Europe and that insanity that you see there, and even our insanity, the evil Russians, there's nothing evil about the Russians. The Russians just want to be left in peace. They've hardly ever attacked anyone else, but they've been invaded many times, most notably by Napoleon and then by Hitler. And it never ended well for the invader. It didn't really end very well for the Russians, but they did survive. And while they sort of helped us a little bit, it was really us Americans who got this thing done. That's not only an insult, it's factual bullshit. It's completely wrong. It's historically invalid. Look it up. Give credit where credit's due. The Russians won World War II. 85% of the actual winning of World War II and defeating the Nazi threat was Russia and not America, England, or the Allies. Okay, just to be really crystal clear. If you don't understand that, you need to do a little bit of homework. Russia has a much greater future. It's the number 4 economic power. And contrary to everything, the lies you've heard from the lamestream line media, Russia's doing quite well economically. You wire me on PayPal, $10 million, and I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. Free shipping. And if you believe that, well, then you probably believe that we're the shining city on the hill. That's all hunky-dory, that we're actually taking a country back, that there's a new golden age under Trump. If you believe any of that, like I said, $10 million. I'll just give you the PayPal link. If you want to own your country, if you want to bring your country back, that's what you need to do. You need to examine and open your mind and your heart and your eyes to politics, culture, metaphysics. see what's really running your life, what's really running the world, and then maybe you can figure out how you can go back to the roots, retake your culture, own that culture, shape it, respect your culture, respect your language, respect, good quality art and good quality music versus the shite that's being mass produced today. And then maybe, just maybe, you also have a lot better success with high quality women. Just saying, just an idea. Oh, and if you found any kind of usefulness in this video, understand for every minute of video that you're watching, that you're consuming, myself, but my team to an even greater extent than myself, for every minute you're watching, that's probably been a 1 man hour in this production. So if you want to do us a favor, if you want to see more of this stuff, if you want to see, help out the algorithm, please, give us a like, give us your comments, your opinions in the comment section below. You might even want to subscribe or check your subscription to this channel. This channel is a very, very small channel, but we're tirelessly working to bring you more of this stuff, kind of outside the box. And maybe if you really want to really help us out, share this with some of your friends, share the link, post it somewhere else. You get the idea. So if you really want to help us, share, like, subscribe, and let us know your opinion in the comments section below. In that sense, till next time, your friend Owen.